Call to order, adoption of agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Can I get a seconder? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Adoption of minutes.
Recommend that council adopt the minutes from the regular council meeting that was held on June 20th, 2018.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Council adopted the minutes of the special meeting that was held on June 25th, 2018.
Can I get a seconder? Any discussion? All in favor? Number 4, introduction of late items, none. Public hearing, none. Delegation.
Recommend the council hear the delegation from Cooley Food Bank.
Can I get a seconder? Aren't you gonna just spice them all like me? I'm gonna bar that one. And come on up. Please do the delegation from there, or does not?
Okay, so we are on the delegation over here, so you can go right from here.
Yeah. You want to stand those so we can hear?
So I had 4 copies just for a little of information. Whatever I wrote and you have read it. We started this food bank on September the 2nd, 2015. And it was doing really well in the restaurant. But then we had
Some decided to do business.
we had Sam come in and we have a new business. So the food bank moved to the 2 rooms toward the east. And it's very crowded over here, over there in the 2 rooms. So what we are hoping for today is that we will be able to find a new home for the food bank. And there are other small issues, so I put down 3 of them, my personal things, and then, between the hailstorm and before the roof was put on, the roof was leaking. And I had very well panicked to see if it was going to get bad, but everything was fine. So all the members, Sam is the president, Merle is the vice president, Debbie is the secretary, I'm the treasurer, and Vinay is the guy who brings the food from Wrights most of the time, and brings it to the building. So what the council can do for us, is there a place and proofs that we can share? At one time, I was talking to somebody from the church, and they had the old library, and I thought, they are doing such good things in the library for the young people. Maybe we can share the building with them, because we have to have a place that is warm in the winter, and it has enough room for the fridges and freezers. So it can't be somebody's garage. It
No.
has to be.
Have you went to the Kapuskupi Community Church and speak to them?
Actually, no. No, we started food bank right from this room, and I thought we had to come back to this room, so talk to you guys.
Any other questions?
Your worship, yes, if Chris could inform us what the conversation you had with Corey,
Yeah.
if you informed me.
Worship Festival. I spoke to he's the pastor, Corey Lazat, at the community church. He said that he's open to the idea of partnering with the food bank for some portion of the space there, but just needed to know exactly what the food bank was looking for in terms of square footage and operations and whatnot, but definitely open to the ideas. So,
Okay.
yeah. I think it probably at this point the best thing then would be to have you and him talk to each other and see what can work. He is on vacation here coming up this week, so sometime after that, and
And the square footage changes too. At Christmas time when we have the food drive, I think we can use this room. There's so much food, and
okay.
people are so generous, so kind. And around this time, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So we should meet with them then?
With Corey, yeah, have a meeting with Corey.
Yeah, we could, yeah. I'm still also sit as liaison for the food bank for council, so I can get involved in that. And I'll also mention that when I registered for the Chuckwagon races and the barbecue for Canada, they asked us if we had a food bank, and I informed them that they did, so we'll probably see some food coming our way for that.
Okay.
So I just want to pass that on.
Okay, so are you going to help them contact Corey? So they need a direction.
Yes, I can. And maybe Secret, I'll get together with you and we can go visit them, talk to them about what your requirements are.
Okay.
Okay? You have to do that.
Did you guys want to stay or did you guys want to?
We want to see how other people make presentations.
And I need to go. You need to go, okay, cool. Thank you for coming, Shannon.
Yes.
Okay, so 6.2 recommendation,
Recommended council hear the delegation from the PRRD.
can I get a second?
I'll second.
Ooh, which one of you guys are gonna speak? Dan.
You're doing right.
No.
Yeah, we didn't have a PowerPoint.
Okay.
Me and Crystal had sent it previously, but I do have it on the drive.
Is it the same one you sent me? Yeah, they've got it in here.
Printed it in.
Oh, as a print?
Yeah.
Is that better to use the printed version?
Do you guys want it on the PowerPoint?
You guys.
Or do you want to just follow along in here?
Probably.
Okay, they want PowerPoint.
We're gonna make you work.
Down the things.
No, she's got a picture.
Oh, you got a laptop?
We're lucky to do
So
this.
I have, actually, you know what, I think my jump drive is in my car. So I have the laptop, if that
Okay, that's, yeah, that works.
preferable.
Where's Crystal?
She's in the course.
Oh, you guys let her off?
We don't usually let her come east too far. Tell her to do the property values.
Oh, yeah, right.
Just trying to protect you.
Could have sat there also. Could have sat there.
Yeah, that would be the smart in hindsight.
Oh,
I can't see.
forgot about you.
Thanks. Sorry. Because I really will leave and not come back.
I'll come with mine.
You won't be able to find me. I'm going off the grid. That's far, far away.
You leave your location on yourself.
Nope, not taking it with me, I'm leaving it with my mom. All of them.
No,
Only my husband's phone, 7. You guys can get along with it. Kristen had it.
Sandy, do you remember the password for the other PC, the office one?
Is it on there? Is it right there? Computer.
No, that's the password for the computer itself, not the.
You want the,
Oh, for the Wi-Fi, yeah, the fixed one too. Capital T. The fixed, yeah. 1, 2. Hopefully you guys can connect.
can the TV move so the gallery can see it too?
If I shift it, there, everybody still sees it? Yeah.
Can you guys see it now?
You sent that to us.
Crystal has sent it to you.
Oh, Oh, I can send you the email. Of course, then I gotta.
I'm gonna go with that, then nobody else can see what we're talking about though.
So we can have my copy?
We all have your presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the rest of the other ones.
No, I realize that.
Yeah.
I realize we go.
Just a little leg reading for you.
Yeah, I saw another page like reading, thanks.
Are you gonna stand at the
Only
podium?
100 pages, eh?
Read from there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not connected.
it's not gonna
More
work.
times not charm.
No.
You guys, I guess we can say, when I switch to another slide or whatever on this thing. Slide 3 or whatever. Anyways, my name's Dan Rose, I'm the director of Area E, which is the area around Chetwood, west of Dawson Creek. And with me is Karen Eggern, the acting general manager of development services, for the regional district, and Leonard Hebert, your director, around your area.
And now I'm just gonna get this and give it to the gallery, just so that they can, because the people in the back row don't have. Continue down. I can hear you.
Okay. Today we are here to speak to you about municipal participation in the planning function of the regional districts. As you are aware, municipalities pay a portion of the regional district's budget. The amount you pay is based on your requisition. Planning function, however, differs from the other functions of the regional district, as it is the only function where the Local Government Act allows municipalities to opt out of the service, either partially or completely. This is what we plan to speak to you about today. Today, Karen will tell you what planning is and how planning decisions are guided, and I will speak to the municipal participation in the regional district planning, what services that includes, what the funding structure has looked like in recent years, and then maybe look at some options for you to consider for the future.
Great. So what is planning? That's the slide that we're on. Planning is systematic decision-making that leads to informed action relating to use and development of land. Planning is an evolving process and is unique to every community. It envisions and shapes where people live, work, and recreate. For the regional district, the term community encompasses a variety of places, from established nodes such as Charlie Lake, Presbyteau, Moberly Lake, Orolla, to more general rural areas such as Goodloe, Dundee, and Lone Prairie. The regional district is fortunate to have so many varied communities throughout our region, all with very different wants, needs, and pressures unique to their situation. Examples of how planning guides growth, development, and change within these communities is through land use plans, policies, regulations, and guidelines. And these documents strive to balance the good of the residents, the community as a whole, the environment, and the economy. How planning is guided, next slide. Planning decisions at the regional district are guided by our official community plans. We have 4 of them. An OCP, as I'll call it, is a statement of long-term vision for a community and contains objectives and policies that guide planning and land use management decisions. Our OCPs are approved by the regional board and are referred to all municipalities' relevant agencies during their creation and adoption. Speaking to the PRD, the next slide. The regional district is actually, Peace River is actually the largest regional district in BC. We cover approximately 13% of the area of the province. The next slide, our planning area covers about 1/5 of that area, which totals around 24,000 square kilometers. And now, Dan.
Okay, the next slide, municipal participation in planning. We're here today to talk to you about municipal participation in the regional district's planning function. Planning function includes everything within Part 14 of the Local Government Act, such as OCPs and zoning bylaws. Part 14 also allows municipalities to opt in or out of this function. And as we said before, that's the only function that you guys actually voluntarily participate in. Or you can opt for a partial participation model. This allowance is made in order to encourage agreements between a municipality and a regional district regarding the level of participation in electoral area planning. The intent is to promote the creation of joint planning areas on boundaries adjacent to municipalities. Next slide, municipal participation in rural planning. Municipal participation is based on the view that planning benefits all areas, not just electoral areas for which plans are developed. Good planning benefits the region as a whole. This is particularly relevant in the urban fringe areas. Urban fringe areas being the areas adjacent to your boundaries. Decisions about planning are seen as a general responsibility of the board rather than an operation or management decision of the participants. We are not here to say that municipal participation in planning is a bad thing. However, we believe that our current regional structure is not functioning well. Rural residents are underrepresented at the regional board, and municipalities are paying to make decisions in areas where their interests are unaffected. What we are proposing is that you consider what area of a regional district affects your municipality regarding land use. We would like to see our jurisdictions work together to come to an agreement regarding this area of influence. Next slide, levels of participation. For your consideration, we have put together some examples of different participation structures. Full participation is what you currently have. This means that the Pouce Coupe representative at the regional board votes on all land use decisions over the regional district's entire 24,000 square kilometer planning area. Under a parcel participation model, the village could decide what area you feel is the most important for you to have decision-making influence over. This could look however you like. The amount you would pay would represent the assessment area for that area, the assessment share for that area. And with no participation, you spend no additional dollars, but you would not be able to vote on Part 14 land use decisions in the regional district. And those are mainly zoning OCP decisions in the rural areas. Slide 10, land use items within Part 14. Slide 10 shows you a list of what decisions I mean when I talk about Part 14 land use planning. What we see most often in the regional district are amendments to our official community plans and zoning bylaws, as well as temporary use permits and development variance permits. Examples of how planning guides growth, development, and change within its communities.
There we go, silent.
Okay, sorry. Slide 11, municipal participation history. This table provides some recent history regarding municipal participation in the regional district planning. Pouce Coupe has been fully opted in since at least 1999, which is as far back as our information goes. Slide 12, participation examples for 2019 and beyond. During these presentations to municipalities, we are providing different participation options for consideration. Some of these examples include full participation, participation based on OCP areas or by fire protection areas, or full opt-out. We'll go over a few of these options. Slide 13. As a reminder, the amount of participation you decide will determine how much you pay to the regional district each year, and as this decision could help reduce the tax burden on your residents. As you can see in this slide, the current requisition split is one of the reasons this issue has come up. The electoral areas of the Peace River Regional District pay 2/3 or over $400,000 of the total cost of planning, where the rest of the board only pays 1/3. So the total cost is almost $700,000, and the rural areas pay 2/3 of that, and the municipalities pay 1/3. Slide 14. Potential options. Option 1 is current participation level of 100%. This is your current level of participation. This means that your representative at the regional board votes on land use decisions from Pink Mountain to Tupper to Mount Memorial, or the regional district's entire 24,000 square kilometer planning area. In 2018, this cost you $2,400. Option 2 we provided is for the Southeast Fringe Area Official Community Planning. This covers an area of nearly 1,000 square kilometers surrounding Dawson Creek and Pooskoopi and would cost the village just under $500 to participate in. Option 3 we have provided is for the Dawson Creek and Pooskoopi fire protection areas. This covers an area of 200 square kilometers and would cost the village $110 a year to participate. If you would like to look at any one of these partition models, or if you have another model in mind, we would ask that you would set up a meeting with the Peace River Regional District to discuss what that option might look like. Finally, option 4 is for 0% participation, which would be zero cost for the village. Slide 18, next steps. Moving forward, we've outlined the next steps in this process as they relate to you. And the first step for you is to discuss the topic and the following options and decide if and how you would like to participate in planning decisions. If you decide not to change your current level of participation, then no further action is required. Should you consider a partial participation model, then that decision has to be made by August 31st, 2018 in order to take effect for the 2019 budget. If this is the case, we would like to meet with you to determine what the partial participation model would look like and cost. Thank you much for allowing us to come and present to you, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Andre?
Yes, thank you for your presentation, Dan. And, in regards to what you've just given us, it makes me, to me, it sounds like you want us to change what we have. Is that correct?
That's
Because
correct.
we don't want to be, okay, so I'm going to ask, in regards to the South Central Liquids Hub project on Block Line Road,
Great.
we would not have a say if we would have opted out of this, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and if the 75%, and if we agree to the terms of whatever the PRD is going to want to do with Poos, we would be covered then for that area? For that, from the 75%?
Well, the 75% was just, the options that we presented were just convenient boundaries that we do have, to give you an idea. Basically, I think we would prefer to have an area that is much tighter to your boundaries, so that like a joint planning area of a couple kilometers around your
But just as I said, Dan, that would not have covered the South Central Liquid Hub,
That's
which
right.
was a big deal for the whole community and for us and everything. And we had a vote in that, but if we were to change what you're suggesting, if something else happens within Canada, they want to do something, we won't have a say in what goes on.
So in other words, though, Leonard pays, his area pays over $120,000 Area D into the planning function every year. And you're saying that we should have the right to vote in an area that affects residents that you're not accountable to by paying, and you only pay $1,200 or $2,400 a year into that? That's a
I
little bit.
understand what you're saying, Dan, but we didn't set this up. So I'm kind of surprised that it's like we're being told that this doesn't work for you guys anymore and you want to make some changes. But we
Actually, it is
never
there,
set this
because
up.
every year you voluntarily leave the system the way it is. It's optional for you guys. You guys can do whatever you want. This is the one function in the regional district that you can participate in or not. You choose to participate in this.
Well, I understand what you're saying, so let me ask you this. How many other municipalities are pulling out,
Of what?
opting out, going down to 75 or?
We haven't finished our presentation to start. We have 3 more to go.
My understanding is every municipality is actually totally opt-in for this.
We haven't heard either way.
At this point, though, I mean, I'm talking about previous, right?
Okay, Andre, Colleen, do you have a question?
I just wonder, why would we not, can you give me a good example as to why we would change it from 100% down to 75 and 50? What would the benefit for us to be?
Well, the benefit for you would be you would save some money to start with. Secondly, I'm thinking more of the benefit to us as regional representatives, that actually we would be accountable to the folks that we represented, where you guys aren't. So you're making decisions in the areas where our folks live, that you're not accountable for. And you're choosing to do that. And it's not that, there's nothing illegal about what you're doing. You're allowed to do this and opt in or out under Section 14. Section 14 was created to promote joint planning areas. And those are areas adjacent to municipalities. And share that planning, because those are the areas, that's what we're asked. Pick areas that are of interest to you. Do you really have an interest in what happens in Investment?
No, myself, no, but I'm concerned about Tom's Lake area with the oil and gas, and I would want to sit at the table when that discussion comes up.
I'm just, we might not have, interest in the people that are out in the fringes, but those people that live in the fringes use our community. They use our space, they use our stuff, they use our resources. So, we should be able to have a say, either way, is my feeling. Because we from town also use resources that you have out in the community, and it's kind of back and forth. And so the people that live in this community and this town are just as invested in the outside fringes, because that is part of our community. It might not be in our municipality, but if there was an oil and gas refinery that went out there, out in the fringes, or went to Presbyterian or went to someplace, everybody that lives here has got an investment in it. And I just.
So I'll ask, maybe I can ask you guys a question. If, let's just say the roles were reversed and the regional district board came to your council meetings and would vote on your land use decisions within your boundaries, would you still bother even running for council? If the fact that the people from outside the area were going to come and sit in your room and make your decisions for you, would you even bother?
But everybody has one vote, right? It's not, we don't have a monopoly. It's one vote. So maybe my suggestion, just a thought, is maybe change the hierarchy of pay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe do something about the 12%. Maybe make it so, it's a little more even towards the area directors and the municipalities.
Right now, as far as how the planning function is paid for, it's based on assessment. Okay? So the assessment within Blue Scoopy requires that you only pay $2,400. The assessment in Area D requires that I think Leonard pays around $120,000 per year.
Land mass, right?
Yeah, well, it's assessment of all the properties.
Property assessment.
That's where it comes
Right, his area is.
No, it's assessment.
It's triple what Village Blue Scoopy is.
And that, I think, is a point.
I know it is a point both ways though.
from. Not really, because the only person that's voted on by the people in that area, if you want to talk about Tom's Lake, is Leonard. And if they don't like what he does, then he's accountable. You guys aren't.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had phone calls when that.
But you're not accountable, and you're not going to lose an election over it or anything like that, right? I sat in and did the public hearings in that particular project. And there was 37 people that I know fairly well that signed a petition that lived in close proximity to what was proposed there. And their concerns were basically ignored. Is that fair to those people?
Well, I'd have to say, Dan, as you know, it was just one vote as far as Blue Scoopy is concerned.
And that effectively cancels the vote of the director from the
No.
area that votes the
In this case,
representative
the
people.
director was in favor also.
No,
I
but-
checked with the director, with Leonard, he was in favor of this project. So that really nullifies what you're saying here, because I double checked on you.
Hold on. Leonard, were you?
I was in conflict
You were in conflict when.
because I had a contract with Mechanic.
But you were in favor.
It was a benefit to me because I was not paying in black smoke.
Okay,
What I wasn't in favor of was the location.
okay, fair enough.
So you didn't vote?
I could,
His alternate.
So.
my,
His alternate. I'm just saying.
I just think that, from what I hear from you guys, this isn't a municipality issue. Where is this, planning agreement through? Is it through the government? Is it
Planning
through-
agreement is agreement that you have with the regional district.
So who
What level of
would be the-
participation? You guys choose whether you want to participate fully.
So
or
this is
partially.
a regional district platform that is sent out to municipalities. Is that correct?
Basically, yeah, if you want to participate in the planning function, if you choose to.
No. Where does this originate from? The 12%? Where does this whole, so how is this put forward? So this is a program that the Peace River Regional District came up with, and they made the 12%, and they, so, sorry?
I can speak to that if you want. So planning function is,
Is it government?
my department of the regional district, so it's like a solid waste department or, community services parks department, right? It's a department of the regional district. It exists because it's part of the local government act. That's how we exist, it's the
Okay,
local
so
government act.
the-
So when Dan is saying part 14 of the local government act, that's what we're speaking to today. Only anything that's found within that section. That section allows you guys to decide whether or not you want to pay into it.
So in this local government act is through all municipalities all throughout British Columbia, correct? And so this same function is through all the regional districts? And then
It
the
is.
pay scale is throughout all of those as well? And so
No,
all the
it's
regional districts
optional,
are having
Leonard.
the same issues?
It's optional in every regional district. This is the only function that's optional.
I know, but so I'm
So
saying
you can
other
choose,
regional
no?
districts are having issues with the same plan, 2014?
I can speak to that as well. We've reached out, there's 28 regional districts in BC. We've reached out to them to try and see what their systems are like. Of the 15 that we've heard back from, only 4, including ourselves, have a system where municipalities pay. All of the rest of them, municipalities don't pay and don't vote for planning items.
So why is that? So it changed, so it's through the local
So
government?
you guys can decide, it's your choice, and those municipalities have decided, the land use in the regional district is not impactful to us, we're not gonna pay for it, because we don't care. Or however that agreement was made.
And in some cases, some of the ones that have chosen to, the tax base, or that have chosen not to, the tax base for municipalities is higher. Or the requisition cost for municipalities is higher, because they don't have the surrounding rural tax base. So they basically end up footing the bill, the municipalities do. So they end up paying more than the rural areas for rural planning. So then they choose not to participate as well, because they don't want to pay that. This is a kind of because of our sheer size and our sheer amount of private property around our municipality, well, in the regional district, we're by far the largest agricultural area in the province. And that has a lot to do with how these assessments work and the requisition works as far as who pays what portion. So I don't think, there's no other regional district in the province that has the rural requisition higher than the municipal one that I know of, just because of our size. So anytime, there would be no advantage actually if, probably for a municipality to bother if it costs them more than it would the rural, like if they were going to have to pay for the planning, and many of them are actually being asked to come in at a 25% level. There's one in particular, they asked the municipalities, come in and only pay 25% of what your requisition is because we need your help in the planning function because we just don't have the money to keep their life. That's not the case here.
Okay.
Can I just ask another question? In regards to participation option 2, 75%, can you tell us that we would agree about the Tom's Lake area, that would be covered in that area?
It's the southeast fringe. Southeast, it says that.
So is that
Southeast.
correct?
That'd be Dawson, Tom's Lake.
They would cover it. Okay, that's not my question. I thought it did, but I just want to make sure. Thank you.
I understand where you're coming from, but I also sat on Peace River Regional District before. And you know, my philosophy was the village was sort of the the extra vote for my surrounding area on regional. Because Wayne and I would talk, if it didn't impact the village, then I would listen to Wayne, how it's gonna impact his area. So I kind of looked at it, I was supporting him when the votes came, because we're not a big municipality, because I know that the bigger municipalities can sometimes override or outvote the areas, and Poos was kind of, it's just too, a little bit of information there. But I understand where you're coming from.
Okay, well, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for hearing us.
You betcha.
We don't want to create any animosity or anything. We don't want to.
No, that's, we just have questions, that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Call me later. We'll do lunch and over the thing.
Hey, you want to
Thank you for coming.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Grab the stress ball in the way there. That's perfect.
Okay. Unfinished business arising from the minutes. 7.1 recommendation.
Recommend the council adopt the 2017 annual report.
1 second.
Any discussion? All in favor? New business. 8.1.
Council put the BSET Drive groundwater study project on hold until further notice.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? 8.2 recommendation.
Recommend the council waive line 10 in the purchasing policy 3.1, 2017, requirement to RFP and/or tender, and direct award the construction of the Village of Goose Creek State Park to Canadian Ramp Company for the construction commencement in 2018.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Colleen?
I know that there was a couple other companies, was there not?
There was one
Or
other.
there was one other company, so even if you had one other company, it still wouldn't fit, would it not, or? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, in all likelihood, no, Councillor Evans. And what I've been told, and admittedly this is by Canadian Ramp Company, this system of doing the build and then sort of trucking in the ramps and putting them in place is kind of proprietary to them. So the other company is called New Line Skate Parks. And there used to be 3, now there's only 2 from what I understand. So my belief is that Canadian Ramp Company are the folks to do this.
Because they do a concession.
Yeah. Because they bring sessions. Yeah. I've been tracing or playing phone tag with Aaron over there for about the last week. Finally nailed down an answer today, and there's an email in my inbox if council is, favorable to waiving the purchasing policy and direct awarding it, they can do it this year. They're looking at the last week of September, somewhere there about to start.
Yeah, Your Worship, I just want to ask a question in regards to School District 59. We issued a letter to them for their school board, school board meeting. We haven't received a response, my understanding is.
Yeah.
And I spoke with Jennifer, the principal, and she's informed me that she's in favor of this. I'm wondering if we should reach out to the school, to the trustee or to Melissa, and just get some verification so that we're not, that everybody's on board for this, because that's their property, and
It's
I wouldn't want.
It's not
It's
their
not their property, it's our
It's
property.
already.
I was under impression it was school district.
No, the
That's
road, the
We
road,
own- yeah.
the fence is school district.
Oh,
That is all
That's
ours.
so we don't need their permission?
No, it's nice to ask them for
Wouldn't it just be an
permission.
Okay, I was under the impression because we sent a letter that it was their property. Okay.
No.
And thank you, Your Worship. Even to that end, the letter we sent was directly to the school board, Council Lewa, and it was on the same meeting agenda where we did the presentation about the capacity issue. The letter was specifically written in a way giving them up until July 30th to write back if they had any concerns.
Okay,
Melissa and I spoke about this item last week, and she said the school board hasn't responded because they're in favor of it, essentially.
perfect, no problem. Thank you.
So is everybody?
I would like to make a motion to waive line 10 in the purchasing policy.
All in favor?
Line 1.
8.3 recommendation?
Recommend the council accept the quarter 2 financial report as information.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Eight point four recommendation?
Council advised that they want to enter in the Dawson Creek Fall Fair and who will be riding on the float.
Can I get a seconder?
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, a motion, okay, what's the motion for?
The motion was for the skate park line 10.
Removing line 10.
The motion here on 8.4.
There's no motion.
There's no motion.
Okay, well, we,
It's a recommendation. It's a recommendation. Okay. Sandy?
It's a question. Do you guys want to be in the fall fair?
I do.
that's,
And who's going to be on the float?
What is it? Barb?
August
Gotta have the mayor on the
August
floor.
9th, isn't it?
And Kathy.
You've got your own float.
Friday, August 10th.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to choose to go on Village.
You're going to go to Village? We are going to be in this?
Yeah.
Okay,
August 10th?
I'm just asking.
Yes, Friday.
We just said yes, Audrey.
I can be on the float.
Okay.
Chair.
I work. Okay. Chris?
Thank you, Worship. One more dynamic to that. As far as the float goes, any suggestions on a theme? We're gonna have to get building it. Last year, we just used our Canada Day float. It was nice and easy. The Canada 150 still worked for the fall fair. This year, our float was kind of changed to be just sort of a Canada Day flag. We can still use that, but
We used it last year.
might not.
Can we phone the city to find out what the theme actually is?
It's-
Can we get
it's
cards?
something
We did that.
I don't remember seeing
Yeah, but they
it.
usually do that, that's what the
We're gonna do it.
Dawson Creek does, that's what, Mike will do. That's-
Oh, agriculture.
Agriculture, that's what I thought. Yeah. That's what it is.
Hay bales and away.
So we got bales of them.
Can we get a tractor? To tow it? Like, could we phone, Case Talent or running, they all call Kenver, what is it?
Douglas.
Douglas. That's the name of
I
it.
got done your lawn tractor and your building.
Are you?
I don't think you'll be able to pull boats trailer.
We can definitely make
So
some
can
calls.
we make some calls to
Yeah.
see if they will donate and driver?
Yeah.
Not a big, huge.
Not a big, huge one, just to tow or.
It's, yes,
Just in
it's
that,
gonna have to be big enough to tow whatever float. I'm hoping that,
It doesn't have to be huge.
No, I'm hoping that Bud would maybe lend us his trailer again and we can.
Oh, well, Bud has a tractor. Well, there you go.
So ask to borrow the trailer and tell them to hook the strike. right?
Now we have a tractor.
Can you bring it with the tractor? Okay,
If you guys wanna be in it, we'll make it happen.
okay, yeah, thank you. So we're all in it. 8.5 recommendation.
Recommend the council read the letter from the Dawson Creek Seals and advise if they would like to waive the home rental fee.
Can I get a seconder? Any discussion? Barb?
I had inquired, how many residents from Poos are on the Dawson Creek Seals. And I was informed possibly 2, but we don't.
Don't know the definite numbers.
Did
We
we
get back.
waive the fees last year?
Yeah, we did.
For years and years,
Yeah.
years and years.
See, I have an issue because that's awesome and the Swim Seal Club is awesome. But why do they always come to Poos to write it off? They've got Encana Center there with many beautiful meeting rooms. They don't ask the city of Dawson Creek to write off their,
I think
To
that
wait.
they probably use the swimming pool. I don't think they probably pay too high fees at swimming pool.
So as a community, we do rent out, or not rent out, but give it to them as a donation. As a community, we have for years. Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
I'm gonna sustain from this.
Okay, I want that marked in the.
Yes, please.
Correspondence, does anybody say anything that they want to bring brought up?
Your worship.
Yes.
I'm going to be attending this one about the Tumble Ridge here for the Geopark. I'll be attending that on behalf of the Peace River Regional District and also for the village, as all represent villages at the same time. And it's covered by the Peace River Regional District.
Okay. Chris the Sun, new space funding for childcare. That's on 9.2. On page 129, 130. Can we look into that?
Yeah. As a possible option for a facility in Pouce, Your Worship?
Yeah.
There's a lot of money involved there, that you're covering.
But yeah, they're offering a lot of money. Money.
If we gotta build onto our school, I'm just gonna note, if we have to build on future, and we could get some money for a daycare also,
That's what exactly what I was.
Big Red Star.
Anybody else see anything? Oh, sorry, Paul.
Letter from Premier Horgan,
Over,
just the letter that we had sent him.
and what do you want us to
I
say?
just, thank you for the letter back, that's all. It's just that I just wanted to acknowledge that he actually sent his letter back.
He acknowledged us? Do you want to do a motion on what that word is for them?
That's it.
Okay, 9.10 recommendation, none of them stuff, nothing else? Okay, resolutions, none? That 1.1 recommendation?
Recommend the council give a final reading and adopt animal control and licensing bylaw number 1005, 2018.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
We're too slow on it.
11.2 recommendation?
Recommend the council give first reading to the property maintenance standard bylaw 1008, 2018.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
So there's a couple things I looked at when I was reading this, and one of them, okay, there's just a typo in the pest prevention. There's a P in front of another in regards to that one. But more importantly is the electrical service one. It mentions extension cords, and I'm just wondering if it should mention that not applicable in the wintertime. I had 50 and 100 feet of electrical cords all through winter when I was living up there on 57th. And it says in temporary. So I'm just wondering if we could include that so that it doesn't click. I know which ones you're figuring that you want to apply to. Do you know which ones I mean?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. The intent of that, and were you referring to sort of car heating or heating sheds?
Yeah, for plugging in.
Yeah, the intent of that section of it wasn't for vehicles. What we were hoping to address there was people who would build sheds and then supply power to the sheds with an electrical cord strung across the yard and stuff. Vehicles, there was no expectation of long runs for vehicle plugins and stuff like that. It was meant to.
So you don't think it needs to be in there because of that? That's all I'm saying. Like, in other words, it's not black and white, right?
No.
So,
Okay.
and like I say, I had 50 feet of cord all through winter
Yeah.
to plug two vehicles in.
Colleen?
There's quite a few things on this that I disagree with, this whole property maintenance. If we pass this, we will not be able to have our holiday trailers in our front yards. We will not be able to have trailers of any kind in our grassy spots on our lawns. We will not be able to have fences that are maybe not perfectly repaired, and you could be fined up to $10,000. There is portions of this that if you are not making enough income and you don't maintain your house property, that they can come and fix it for you and bill you and take your property eventually. They can take you a ruler out to your lawn and measure your lawn.
Where does it say that?
I just-
Come across that, yeah.
The lawn one is in here. The lawn has to be a certain height. I think there's a lot of things in here that, especially with the population and the income, I agree with having some sort of standards, but with the income that people have in Coos, it's maybe a little bit lower income. I don't agree with having this kind of bylaw.
The fence is leaning
Yep,
or falling over.
yep. So my fence is leaning.
But
Because the ground,
We're talking-
no, it says leaning, so it's not saying. So if the fence is leaning and it gets wet and the fence leans, then, you know, if somebody has beef with you, they're gonna come and tell you to fix your fence. And I can't afford to fix my fence, so I'm going to be fined $1,000 and $1,000 and $1,000.
So can
Somebody
we,
doesn't like the neighbor.
can we change some of it? Because some of these places in Pooskoopi have 10 vehicles in their backyard.
So I agree, some of it is.
Yes, so
but some of
can we
it's.
go through it, that the council decides what we keep on here and what we don't keep on here?
Well, we don't want people living in their trailers or having people.
But it's just occupied, so no one shall occupy a so you have friends that are gonna come down for a month, and they're coming from Halifax or wherever, someplace. They're gonna park their trailer in their front yard for a month, come visit. Can't do that. You're gonna have to kick them out.
So, Chris,
You're gonna have, no more than 2 weeks. So if I have, at my place, I have people that come and visit, and I put them in my trailer.
but you don't have them there for months and months on end. We're
It's
talking
no more than
living in
2
it.
weeks.
It's intended yeah.
But
Stop
it's not black and white, right?
So this is what we gotta change.
So I can't have a trailer on my grass in my yard.
So can I
Barb,
say that we take this back and council each read it through and bring it
yeah.
back, table it to the next meeting? And we'll go through it more than we have.
okay, Chris?
Might be worthwhile on this side of your worship, and, you know, admittedly, yeah, there's a lot in there. We modeled this after a bylaw from another community. Might actually be worthwhile to have a special meeting just on this item, your worship, so that we can
That's,
focus on it, go around the table as many times as necessary, and it's very much meant to be, you know, your guys' bylaw and help address some of the things we've been hearing from council that you guys want us to address throughout the community, but we absolutely want to make sure that it's, you know, it's what you guys want, and we can go from there. So that would probably be my recommendation at this point, just so we can have a really good focused discussion on it and not feel crunched for time. Let's set a special meeting.
Barb?
initially, these bylaws, I hope, it's not something that all of a sudden it's on the books, let's start going around house to house to see who's doing. This is just what, that gives the staff the groundwork when issues come up, they have something to revert back to.
Yeah, we're not gonna have,
But what if there's somebody that has an issue with you, and you're, you know, and you've got a neighbor, and they're continuously, you know, and eventually the village of Coos will have to do something, because that person is complaining, you know, do you know what I mean?
Just because they don't like you?
Yeah, and so, you know, there's stuff that does happen like that, and we've heard that here.
Oh,
You know, they've heard it too.
Yep.
So, and I'm just worried about that, because if they say, well, in the bylaw it says, so you have to follow the bylaw.
so we will change.
Okay, Chris, so when do you think we could have a special meeting?
At your discretion, your worship, but I'm on,
You're off.
we're in holidays here coming up, of course, so, yeah, I'm off August 15th to the 30th.
Me too.
Yeah, okay.
September, do you?
Yeah, we're probably looking at September.
Because I go again on Sunday.
Yeah, we're probably looking at September, your worship. It would be good, considering the process to get it adopted, a lot
So
of
if
this.
everybody takes it, reads it,
Yeah,
writes down their concerns and figures out how they want it worded?
Can we see some samples from some different communities? Of what their bylaws are on that? Smaller communities?
smaller communities, we struggled to find one that actually had one. And
You
the-
want to clean up.
I know, I agree, but
So like I say, we had to go all the way to Kingston, Ontario to get a good draft that worked. Sandy did find 3 or 4 of them, I think, give or take. But they're not,
Dawson has one.
What do you think, Marlene? What do you think?
I've lived in Puscupi for a very long time, and I'm okay with lots of stuff. Everything changes at some point or another. They're just neighbors.
and admittedly, I've lived in communities where I think some of this stuff has gone way too far. Communities that not only didn't allow things like travel trailers on the grass, just flat out didn't allow them at all. The community felt that that wasn't, wasn't the look they wanted for their town. The parking vehicles and stuff on grass is one that's there often enough. I think part of the struggle in us finding something like this with other communities is it tends to be fragmented in their bylaws. So their zoning bylaws will address 2 or 3 things of this, and then they'll have just a general property maintenance one that speaks to the grass aspect and the yard maintenance and stuff.
I
This-
just worry about fire. That's all I worry about. Those dead derelict vehicles in backyards, that's what I worry about. That's fire.
Derelict vehicles they're fire
It's
risk,
all
they're
grass.
a rodent risk, and they're also a
They're not in here.
they're also a contamination risk. Yeah, they're mentioned in here.
They're in here.
In
I
here.
saw
Yeah, we've actually got them if this gets adopted in some form, and again, folks, this is just a recommendation from staff. At the end of the day, you're under no obligation to adopt this thing. If it's something after tonight or the next discussion, that you guys say, this just goes too far, we don't wanna do that. Certainly don't hurt anybody's feelings, it's.
I'd like to bring up, when there's stuff at the Legion, and I know my street, vehicles get parked on both sides of the road. When you say fire trucks couldn't even get through there.
Yeah.
They've had to, the ambulance, for one, couldn't get through. And
it's
I
not a property maintenance. But
no, but I'm just throwing it out there about fire,
There
that's
is on here that, somewhere on here, I just read it, that vehicles.
Yeah, there's plenty of vehicles. I still believe there's a lot of good things in this bylaw personally.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Some of the stuff I've noticed just from a community optics standpoint, I mean, driving around town, we've got a number of properties with visibly broken windows. And it's evident that the homeowner has taken a garbage bag and stapled it to the inside of the window and left
Because they
it.
can't afford it.
But it-
Well, some of this is rental properties too.
Yeah.
Okay, but they can't afford it, like, so there's rental properties, we have low income housing here, like, where people can't afford stuff, and so we tack on $100 every couple minutes to them.
Well, that
How is it
goes
gonna
back to
help
the
their
guy that
safety
rents
and
the house.
health?
Yeah.
If
He
you
does.
only got that.
But some of it's not renters.
And at the end of the day, that
There's a lot
drags,
of people
that
that
drags
own
down the
houses that
property
can't fix
values.
them.
of-
There's, yeah.
So that, I mean, there's construction materials that are visible, a lot of that stuff, so
Like,
people.
how is having this gonna have somebody that can't afford to fix their house, fix their house?
Chris, answer that.
I'm not sure I have an answer to that, your worship. I think it's just gonna, everybody's got life decisions they gotta make with respect to that kind of stuff. And at least this then puts the municipality's intentions on paper. And there's arguments on both sides of that too, right? So if you're a homeowner that takes great pride in maintaining their property to keep your net worth up, to provide a nice place for your family to live, and your next door neighbor has 3 junky cars, a whole bunch of construction material, they started to build a porch and never put siding on it, the shingles are falling off the roof,
I agree.
the basement windows are all broken, how does that homeowner who takes pride in ownership and wants to be, you know, a respectful homeowner in the village of Bruce, then look at this next door property and what do you do? Without language like this, they're really powerless to do anything. Barb?
If there's garbage bags taped over the window because they can't afford to put window, is that not a safety and a health risk for that person that's living in that house? And yes, it is, because I'm not saying you have to fine them, but it brings it to our attention that that person needs some help. And 40 below, and they only have that across their window. It's their safety and health issues that it should be looked at. I'm not saying that we're gonna slap,
We're gonna put a motion on the floor to table this to.
There is a motion, I need a second.
Second. Okay. So everybody's gonna take it home and they're gonna read them and they're gonna come up with their ideas. And then we'll do this in September. Okay, administration reports, Chris, CAO.
Yeah, I think we should, okay, quite a few things this evening, so I'll try and fly through it in bullet point form, starting off with the good news. Summer student grant has actually, for some reason, the feds have had a change of heart on this. We are now approved in the amount of $4,800 and some change, so that's a good thing. Found out at the staff meeting today, the triathlon's been through town and done. Didn't hear any hiccups, logistical issues with that. I believe the gentleman who was supposed to appear as a delegation.
He apologized, I saw it,
yeah.
I saw him, he apologized
Yeah.
profusely.
Yeah, so that's good. Skating rink painting is almost complete. Line painting around the village is now complete, so you notice we've done a whole bunch of stuff here in the downtown core. Added a couple of downtown core, added a couple of crosswalks and stuff. We're also working on a key audit right now because we have keys from years ago that go nowhere, so that's taking staff a couple of days to work
Can you
through.
send them over to my house too then?
Yeah. Had a great meeting with the grant writer on Monday. Long story short of that meeting is that most of the capital and special projects that we could have applied for grants, we've either applied for them, received a no, or we're still waiting. And in the case of waiting, it's mostly the skate park one. We're going to reapply for one of the big grants for the boundary extension and that type of stuff. We got denied for it the first time. I spoke to a lady in that ministry. She said, try again to see what happens. The big part of that discussion was around skate park grants. So the plan of action now, Andy's going to put together grant applications for all the major energy companies for us. We're also going to do up a form letter and likely have the mayor sign it. And then that we can send out to local businesses. And we're talking things like the auto dealerships, LP, some of the more bigger name businesses in Dawson.
We're gonna hit up United.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Cross.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get Collins that now. But so that's the plan of attack, and then it'll be, hopefully we'll hit that mark. I'm still waiting to hear on the $100,000 grant from the co-op for the skate park.
Yeah, I messaged Dean, he said he'll get us the letter.
Okay. Library floor is now complete. Sandy and I went over there and inspected it today. It's actually looking awesome, huge improvement over the carpet that was there. Cannabis legislation, deadline's approaching now, so just to give council some internal timelines, our hope is to have everything all said and done by the September 20th meeting. 20th? 18th, yeah. So that means the village will have all of our ducks in a row about a month before full legalization. There is another delegation coming, your worship, on August the 18th. 15th?
Did you read that, did you read that BC Hydro email I sent you? Bob wants a telephone conversation with him. Bob Gammon,
What was
BC Hydro?
the topic again?
Just polls and stuff, like.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. So Speaking of polls too, we reached out to them there earlier in the week about getting Jonathan Simmons' poles all connected. We had an engineer in the office today, so that's gonna be happening here sooner rather than later.
Barb?
What was that you were saying? Do we have somebody coming to delegation for
Oh,
cannabis?
for cannabis again, it's a gentleman who wants a letter of support for a licensing application, so my recommendation to council still at this point, even though we'll likely have our ducks in a row well ahead of federal legalization, I wouldn't recommend any letters of support until it's 100% done deal at both the federal and provincial level.
I'm just gonna throw this out, we've already had one. So how do we choose who we grant? I'm sure we don't want, if there's 6 present people, delegations coming for cannabis sales or whatever. Do we want 6 stores?
Side by side?
You know what I mean? How does council decide who gets?
Well, first it can't be near the school.
Mhm.
We only have 2 liquor licenses in Poos.
They can't be with liquor.
I understand they can't be
They can't be
with
associated with liquor at all.
the
They
liquor
don't.
You have to
store.
bill.
It has
You have
to be,
to, yeah.
Separate.
yeah, it cannot be in the same, on the same grounds, I
No, we can't even be in the same building.
The
I
province,
thought they had to build the,
No, I don't understand,
That's-
they can't be on the same
it
property.
has to be separated, so it can't be the same storefront. It's in the provincial cannabis retail licensing guide that came out about a month ago. Some of the legislation on this is still a moving goalpost. They're, you know, it's evolving as things get closer and closer to the deadline. To answer Councillor Smith's questions, council still has a lot of things at your disposal to deal with it. Number one is, from what we've read, and this was just in a legal letter that came out late last week, the province has set about a $10,000 initial application fee just at the provincial level. And that includes, I think it was $7,500 a year as a
Annual.
continued annual license fee. We then started doing some digging, and Alistair stumbled on the City of Vancouver's cannabis licensing bylaw. They've set their annual business license at $31,000 a year for a cannabis retail outlet. I've spoken to a few other municipalities. Lots of them are on board with the same kind of program, that this isn't gonna be a $150 retail business license.
No.
That it's a 4 or 5 figure number if you wanna operate one of these. So part of this cannabis paperwork and legislation that we have to get ready for you guys is a rewrite of the business license bylaw. And we're putting a line in there for cannabis, and I'm initially proposing a 4 figure number. So, you know, that'll be an annual
What about
business
growing?
license.
growing.
Cultivation, that's a good question, Your Worship. We were mostly dealing with the retail sales of it right
yeah,
now,
no, because there'll be
not the
people
cultivation
buying
stuff.
buildings out here and wanting to
To
build.
do greenhouses and stuff.
Yeah.
No, they grow up to 4 plants.
No, that's for home use,
There's
for
probably
personal use.
400 plants.
Commercial,
building
okay.
park.
Are we gonna maintain our smoking bylaw the same as cigarettes as with cannabis? Like, you know what I mean?
It's legal, it would make a difference, right?
Yeah.
It should be the
Because
same.
smokes like
But
Yeah.
people are gonna say, well, I don't want them smoking in my apartment. I don't want them smoking in the next yard at their barbecue pit. If the smoke drifts into my yard, like,
Yeah,
These
but
are the
if they
things
walk
that-
down the street drinking a beer, we could get pulled over. So I imagine there is gonna be
I think
laws,
that's the federal government.
laws on that.
though, I heard that that's downloaded to the municipality because the municipalities are concerned because the tenants in BC are going back to the provincial government saying, we want to implement these laws that I don't want cannabis smoked in my apartment or on my decks or,
And the issue with cannabis is unlike liquor. You know, if you're having, you know, a party on your deck inside, you know, the privacy of your own property lines, you can drink as much as you want, it's not gonna affect the next door. If you're an avid cannabis smoker having a similar party on your back deck and next door there's 3 kids jumping on a trampoline and the wind happens to be going in that direction, it's gonna affect the folks in the neighboring properties. Part of the logic I've heard for setting the business license so high is for that, is for the municipality to initially deal with the flurry of complaints everybody's expecting. you know, Bob and Mary are chronics next door, they smoke nonstop, I can't open my living room window, town's gotta go do something. What do we do? That's, you know, so I think part of it, there's gonna be an expectation of folks to be neighborly and police themselves, but similar to the other property disputes we were talking about tonight, I fully suspect when this bubbles up, it's gonna be the number one thing we're gonna be addressing at town hall here on a very frequent basis for months after this becomes legal, so.
Free for all for.
It may be, you know, I know one municipality has already said that they've, you know, they're putting bylaws in place to prohibit smoking in any public areas, including the streets. So somebody out for an evening walk with their dog can't be smoking, walking down the road, that it pretty much has to be confined to their own property. Of course, parks and playgrounds and that type of stuff. You know, we already have signage, no smoking there. That would extend it to cannabis too. We wouldn't have to do anything fancy. It's no smoking, pretty general. But yeah, there's arguments on both sides of that fence, and it's really kind of up to you guys as to how we want to see that evolve or not in Boost. Is that your discussion? Yeah. Navy and Sage benefits are wrapping up. Everybody is enrolled effective tonight. So the new benefit plan is kicking off August 1st. Looking forward to working with those folks on that. BC stats. So I CC'd council to the email on Frank Hick there last week. He did reply back. I don't think he hit reply to everybody, but long story short, the reply was, great info, wasn't aware of any of that stuff. I'll call you later on this year and we'll definitely factor everything you mentioned here into our future population statistics. So hopefully that'll have the desired effect. Animal control officer report for June, pretty slow. 5 calls for animals at large, 1 call for a puppy on a chain. Loose dogs on railway, and then we apprehended 1 loose dog in the CRS yard.
Well, that lets us know that he's doing a marvelous job.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I will. I agree. And the irony of this is, as we see the activity slow down, it actually means that the role is effective and having the desired effect. So that's good. Poos Park, we opened on Friday. Kind of kept an eye online. Didn't see any major complaints, concerns, or anything like that. So we're going to call that a success.
Just the fireworks.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fireworks are.
On the topic of Poos Park, Your Worship, we should set a date for the official grand opening. Talking to Councillor Smith before the meeting here, the suggestion was maybe September the 7th to tie it into the volunteer banquet. And the thought was maybe do Poos Park grand opening in the morning, volunteer banquet in the afternoon. We'd close town hall and have staff go and work those functions, and then combine the 2 into 1 if council's open to that idea.
And fireworks.
Yeah, fireworks that evening as well.
Sorry, Sandy, you never got that memo. You were making coffee. Okay.
Does that seem to make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
Shoot for that.
Everybody's in full agreement?
Excellent.
Okay.
Reviewed the water and sewer meter billing for Q2, and we noticed that 10 residences in town were indicating 0 usage. So I mentioned to council before that the company that manufactures these things have told us there was a defect in the battery. We think that's starting to rear its head, so to speak. So we're going to be changing those out as an ongoing thing.
Those residents, were they 0 reading for 1 quarter or 1 month, or were they back?
Yeah,
For
good
a
question, Councillor Smith. The report I get is for that particular quarter, so for that 3-month period, yeah, no water usage. And that really can only be the meter failing. So what we did was bill those residents as the mandatory minimum, and we'll get in and change those meters when we can. Budget report we spoke to. I've been working on the crack sealing and seal coat project on the capital and special project plan. I can't seem to find any equipment that anybody has for this.
Peter Brothers is back.
Yeah, I've spoken to Peter Brothers. Well, Peter Brothers, I spoke to Wade. He didn't do it or have any equipment. He was going to try and find somebody that could, but nobody really even jumped off the top of his head either. I called Jordan from Tumbler Ridge asking if we could use the tumbler equipment, and he said probably not. They're in this midst of their own projects and stuff too, so, I'll keep digging. It's not, we've still got time, there's a couple of months, and I'm only anticipating about 2 weeks of work once we get the proper equipment to do
But
that.
there's a paving company for St. John.
The city does their own practice.
Yeah. But
And
they're-
that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the municipalities do their own, and we're trying to, hey guys, can we borrow your stuff in the middle of what you're trying to get?
Just take a bucket and a trowel.
So, yeah.
Gravel.
Jordan and I worked together on a lot of things. He wasn't willing to share the old 95
Did you
pickup
try
with me.
CRS though?
No.
Because I know they do seal coating. Like they go around and patch, right? So I don't know what they use. Is maybe a shovel? Comfortable backpack.
No, they have a machine.
I think they get them, yeah.
At the end of the day, we've got a healthy budget for that too, Your Worship. Would council be open to the idea that we look at getting some seal coating equipment? We bought that old Ford flat deck truck from the district of Chetwynd last year. I mean, the seal coating work just is dirty.
How much?
I don't know, Your Worship. That's it. We
Come back to council with how much?
With how much? Okay. Yeah, there's business license bylaw we spoke to. That was it for me.
Just a question, are we doing calcium on the gravel roads or dust reduction at all? Elliott Road and, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we typically do. I'd spoken to Blair about that item on Canada Day and the little access road. The response I got was it's been too wet to really do any calcium this year, but we got 100 millimeters of rain in the forecast between tomorrow and Friday as well, so, but usually.
I guess that's dust control.
Yeah.
You can keep it raining.
Right, yeah.
So he knows to do it though.
He knows to do it as soon as it
amount of
becomes, yeah,
sunshine.
they're keeping an eye on that. As soon as they feel it needs it, we'll definitely get it.
Okay, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we gotta get back to where we were. Action items. Action items. And boundary extension still ongoing? So there's nothing? This ongoing one for the letter of Prime Minister can go, eh?
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, this went to print before we found out about the summer student grant. We only got that email on Monday, so we'll disregard sending anything to the.
And the low carbon fund, what are we doing for that?
Thank you, Worship. That's all. That was the solar panels and stuff. I haven't really had much of a chance to look into that, so.
So that's the invitation for Peace Energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those two should be together.
No,
Which
sorry,
ones?
no.
Peace Energy is.
Oh,
isn't
yes, yes, it is, sorry.
Yeah, isn't Peace Energy the people that
Peace
do
Energy
the
is
solar
folks.
panels?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're just waiting for them to get back to us with a date, but what's, I
The
don't know
low,
what it
the
is.
low carbon fund is the grant pool for solar
For
energy.
solar energy.
Okay.
Yeah, I've escalated all of that.
And
to
who's
Andy.
installing it is Ronnie Mock. That's who's installed it for Hudson Hope.
Mm,
So maybe we can contact him
Yeah.
and see what all we have to do.
okay. We haven't heard back from Peace Energy.
No, we're still waiting to find a date.
Yeah.
They work together just so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ronnie would be the person to talk to. Okay. Anything else? Capital special projects.
Got a few things to be crossed on.
Library for Lowers crossed off now as well. That finished up yesterday. so.
Can you tell me when the sidewalks are gonna start, Chris?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I met with Katrin on Wednesday last week to talk about the three big projects we got ongoing right now, as well as the sidewalk one. Gave her some general guidelines. She's gonna talk to Josh. She's gonna put together a work plan for this. Thought is to probably do the sidewalk study late fall over the winter.
What do we have to do to study?
We just gotta see, We're pretty confident that the right of way along the road there is sufficient to build the sidewalks, but we'll probably want to engage in a consultation process with those landowners. We're likely gonna have to, you know.
It's our boulevard.
It is, but definitely want to let those
Tell
folks.
people you're taking it.
Yeah, and then there's a possibility we may need to alter the ditch, we're not sure. So I don't think it's gonna hit the kind of dollars that are in that study plan, but, you know, we definitely want the opinion of the engineers before we go and do something there too.
So next spring is when we'll be doing it?
No, I wanna get the study done this year, and you guys have directed me to do it through that capital plan. So that study's gonna be a couple of things. A, is it feasible? Do we have the right width? Will the ditches still work if we put sidewalks in, or, you know, is the sidewalk gonna be too wide? We won't have enough ditch. I don't know those measurements. And then Urban Systems will also come back with an estimate as to what the construction cost might be, so we'll have a better understanding next year whether or not that 100,000 we have in the budget for construction is way too much, way too little. I don't know what the square footage of a sidewalk's worth, so.
Get your ruler out, run outside. Okay. And the groundwater study thing, that's no more?
That-
So that's $100,000 or?
Yeah, thank you, worship. That's, well, I did.
A little less.
The motion that got passed was to put it on hold here. The window to do that work is closing rapidly, so, yeah.
And the land acquisition?
Yeah, thank you, worship. I happened to speak to the landowner today. The paperwork's being drawn up with Abbey Law as we speak for the initial offer. I won't go into too much detail about that right now. Suffice it to say, when I mentioned to the landowner the number, she got teary-eyed and gave me a high five. So I think we're in the right ballpark. There's a good likelihood that's gonna wrap up in the next couple of weeks. I had instructed the lawyers to put an August 30th closing date on the next one, so.
Nice.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. We're looking at sidewalks, this is July, and we're looking at sidewalks for planning and that. You know what I mean, it's too late to do it this year, but yeah, also the skateboard park, that's gonna be in September. Are we not looking ahead farther to get these things planned so that they're put in June, July, August, instead of being put in September, October, November, like?
Didn't we have snow 2 weeks ago?
I think it was sleet.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we're somewhat bound by our budget constraints, right? May 15th already eats into our planning horizon. The skate park one, the comments I've received from everybody on that project is that we
That's
put it
Urban
together
Systems.
in record time. Yeah.
But Urban Systems.
Admittedly, I would have liked to have had that report from Urban Systems back in March, April. I've got the email chain supporting the fact that I kicked that off well ahead of time. They kind of viewed it as, you know, a 3-4 year project for us too, from what they say. Didn't realize we were as serious about it as we are. So it looks like it can still get done this year, that's good. But yeah, that's why Councilor Smith, with, you know, something like that study, really that's just gonna be a little bit of map work and then some guys out there taking some measurements kind of thing. The study goes well over the winter, we'll get the results of it in the spring, then we can look at putting sidewalks in if it's feasible.
Why can't they do the study now? When it's-
Yeah, well, and that's, you know. the
Is that
direct-
Urban System?
Yeah, the direction that Katrin would start thinking about it. I mean, we're only 2 months away from the fall anyways, so that was kind of that next project once we wrap
Come
up.
on, you two. He's so.
What was the Facebook meeting? There's only 50 more days.
You're so mean.
That's on camera.
Quiet. Counselor Evans, do you have a report? Calendar? Oh, calendar, sorry.
I have a question. Are you away at the end of August?
Yes.
From when till when?
the 16th to the 4th, I think it is. It's about, if there's a.
No, I
something
just want to know, and Ray, so Counselor Johnston, are you going to be here on the 15th?
I could. That was the start of my holidays, but I booked off from the 15th to the 4th of September.
You were gonna let me know if you were gonna be here or not.
Yeah, I could be
You
here.
get to cut to the boss.
I'll be here.
I won't use the word you use.
Are we talking Chris or me?
What's that? My boss?
Oh, your
No,
boss.
And I got the look, but I'm gonna come anyway.
Oh. Okay,
So what's happening on the 15th?
Council meeting, your worship.
Oh.
Chris won't be here,
I won't be
Oh.
so you have to be nice to me.
here. I fly out at 5:45 a.m. on the 16th, so couple options.
Be a
If
10-minute meeting.
If there's anything crucial on that agenda, I can come in because the plan is to stay in Fort St. John overnight to make my flight. If not, I'm more than happy to call in if council wants to be involved in that meeting.
There's something.
We're gonna try and make the agenda
Way smaller than this one.
way smaller.
And think of the time we'll save in the CAO report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andre.
I just want to mention for the calendar for July. So July 20th, I'm attending the Geopark Club, I mentioned that before. 21st, I'm attending the Swan Lake 100-year anniversary. I'll be representing the village for that, at no
You are?
cost to the village.
The Swan Lake one?
Yeah?
They actually asked me to attend it.
No, but do you remember at council, I asked you if I could attend it with you? And
Yes.
you said yes.
Yes, but you're not going up and doing a speech or?
No, I'm just gonna have maybe my,
Yeah.
who's to be, sing that? I'm not saying I'm gonna do speeches. Okay? I'm just gonna attend it. Just to have more support for it. The other thing is, on July 28th, I'm attending also the Spencer Park, open, a day park at the PRD for Movie Lake, and that's covered by the PRD for me. So those are the ones in July.
And I'm also at the Swan Lake thing on the 21st. If you don't, get there, my umbrella.
Sandy, you might as well know, I'll be away on August 24th to September 4th, myself.
August 24th.
August 24th, September 4th.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm also away Sandy, 21st, or 22nd to,
Yeah, I got that already. To the 5th. 6th. 6th. Okay. Chris.
You were concerned about acting mayor at some point, and was that
At the end of August.
period of August here? Yeah,
Yes.
both.
You and Ray are away.
Yeah.
the movie next in line.
Next in
We
is,
I'm only 9 hours away.
And I
Because I have to wait on
might
the
be back in
tech
town. I'm gonna try today.
Counselor Smith.
And I don't have a light, and I will be in town.
And I will not be here from August 29th to September 5th.
party!
You guys will all leave
Oh
town.
my God. You're gonna be out of here.
Is anybody around to keep the lights on?
We're gonna close the office. Nobody will be here.
So, we'll,
That's good.
is council okay with Councillor Smith then being acting mayor for those?
I don't think there's a
few
choice.
days?
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
Yeah, okay, very good.
Okay, so now back to Colleen with her report.
So the library board met with Melissa from the school district 59 regarding the letter that they just got. You guys mailed the letter to her?
We emailed it and then followed up.
You
with-
emailed it to Cindy.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
followed up with a written one, so.
Yeah, okay, so the date that you sent it though, they didn't receive it right away, so I'm just saying. So they did agree to do the 50%. And they have sent a email or a letter in the mail to you guys. And they have an outline of the floor plan and how much space that they will require or give. They say, thank you for your concerns regarding the increase in the class size and lack of space in the elementary school to accommodate the new students in the upcoming 2018-19 year. The Pooskoopi Library values the role it has in leading the development of a strong community and prides itself in being adaptable to the community's changing needs. Our board has reviewed the letter and would like to work collaboratively with the school district, and we would like to present the following solution. Please find attached a copy of the original layout of the building and a highlighted portion of the library space we are able to share on a temporary basis with the school district. We feel that it would provide adequate amount of space for the additional classroom as well as accommodating space needed for the configuration of the library. The library board would also like to confirm that once these changes are in place, that both parties agree to the following changes. All existing programs will continue without change. We will continue to have full access with no structural, physical, or scheduling changes to the library and the library board staff meeting. To the meeting and library staff room, sorry. The school tables, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. School tables and chairs will be removed from the library, and the children's space and directly outside of the meeting room will be moved to a new location to accommodate. And our board and staffs will be informed of all the changes before and during the construction, and an adequate approval storage solution for the public library will be agreed upon before construction begins. Additional questions that the board would like to put forward are, if new shelving is required, who will incur the costs? And in the event that there's a closure for the construction, who will pay for the staff library salary? If you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to contact. So, regarding the table and chairs, when we did that change that the school actually asked for, they took 20% of the library at that time. And they put tables and chairs. So if we give them 50 and they keep the 20%, our library will only have 30% floor space. So they want to keep the 20% on top of the 50%. And there's no way that our library can function like that. So they're asking for those tables and chairs to be removed, and then they will agree to the 50%. But if they don't want those tables and chairs, because it takes up a lot of space. So that's one of the main concerns. And then another concern is, where are they going to put the books? Where is this? Who's going to pay for the moving? Because Courtney can't do it by herself. So there is some concerns for sure that need to be addressed, but they have no problem giving the space to the school so the kids can go to school. Another thing is, it has not been going well with the school. And if you talk to a couple of different communities that have had agreements with schools, it did not go well, and actually there was quite a few communities that have actually pulled their libraries from the school. And I really think that this is something that we need to consider. I think that this is the food bank needs space. You know, there's a couple of different organizations that need space, and I think it's something that we really, really need to consider, is having a different space for our library. Because 2 years, temporary, you know, fine, but our community is only going to grow. We're only, you know, we're making more housing, we're making more subdivisions. It's not going to be a temporary solution. I think that this is going to be something that we're going to have to need, you know, as a permanent idea. And I think that we we need to build a different building and a different space. And I really, it's not going well. Like, it's not a terrible situation, but it's just our taxpayer dollars are paying for these books, and they're not getting handled correctly. And we're losing a lot of money that we have no way of getting back to the school. And the school has now finally stepped up, but it's just a very difficult situation. And I just think that we really need to do something different.
That letter that you read, and that, are we going to get?
It's been sent, it's been emailed, or mailed.
To the
To the
village.
Village of Goose.
Okay.
And this is to the school district, because it's through the school district first. So the letter's been sent to the school and it was sent to the village groups.
Okay,
So
so
I received that.
are you going to
I was just
have
sent this today.
other meetings between now
Oh,
and August 15th?
I don't know, school district hasn't responded back. This was just sent today, so this isn't something that anybody's got yet. So, but, I'm sure the school district will come back to the library board, so, until then, but I just, so you guys know that they have agreed to it, so, good. That's all we need to know.
Councillor Johnstone?
I have nothing to report except for I was at our special meeting, and that's about it for me.
Nothing for the museum?
No, there's no meeting till the 30th. I'm gonna have to get together with the, meet up with Les and have a chat with him so I can give you a report on what's going on.
Councillor Smith? I was at the Canna Community Supper, July 1st. Also, I was on the conference call for the NDIT, and they asked for, they had a municipality that is concerned for the workforce attraction and retention, that they're really trying to bring up the ranks, and they want it brought to all the municipalities for these companies coming in. We don't want them just flying in or bringing their crews in. We want them to get local workers, stay, live, whatever. So I have a report in my binder, Northern Trust, that I keep over there. And I would like to request that we also have a binder over there for the museum and the library, that we have copies of the minutes over there in a binder so that any council can look at them, so that they're all in one place. And that we, I would like to make the motion that museum and library come quarterly and give us council a report. Well, the fire department.
Do all the portfolios, and
Yeah.
it's not just the two.
No, well, the fire department, he comes normally, but we only see them when they bring their budget. And I'm just thinking if they come quarterly or 6 months, whatever works best. And if we're getting copies of their minutes,
Yeah, she's got it.
do you get copies of the minutes from the museum and the library?
When Ray gives them to me.
But do you get them all the time?
I've had some, not all of them.
Okay,
On the library, we got them all?
The ones that Colleen's given me, yes, I have them.
okay, so I just thought if we had a binder there, we would know what we have and what we don't have.
Okay.
So I make that motion if,
Can I get a second here?
I'll say.
All in favor?
okay,
You're done, Barry?
yeah.
Councilor.
Okay, so I also attended a special council meeting on the 25th, the 26th in Canada Community Supper, attended the Legion in Canada. It was very entertaining. Any information that they gave us was really good to have. They did pass on to me anyway, in regards to all that they're doing up in this area. I also attended the June 27th, the Community Trails Workshop. It was at Calvin Crook between 6:30 and 8:30 in Dawson Creek. 18 people attended that. It has to do with the Pooskoopi and Dawson Trail that's in the works with the PRD. The PRD in Dawson, June 28th, July 1st, Canada Day, July 4th. I attended the Dawson Creek Hospital announcement with Minister Dix that he had, and afterwards I had a meeting. I'm sorry.
Isn't that June 28th?
Where did I said July 4th here. No, it's July 4th. June 28th? Okay, sorry. Okay, that's fine. I'm thinking of, okay, well, anyway, right after that, I had a meeting with Mr. Dix. There was 4 of us, hospital employee union, HSA members, and DCMU, there was 2 nurses. And Mr. Dick wanted to talk to us personally about the hospital and what things are going on in there. At that time, I did pass on to him the information about the fact that there was 18 geriatric patients in the hospital on the 2nd floor. And was there a suggestion that the suggestion was made, we were on the 3rd floor actually. The suggestion was made to reopen the 3rd floor and put the geriatric patients up there with an LPN and some carries, and he wasn't too keen on that idea. But I can advise you that he must have talked to the hospital afterwards, Northern Health, because tomorrow, all those geriatric patients that go to the daily programming at Rotary Manor, which is the first time. And I'm sure he was behind that, because I just know. that
Thank you for
that's-
bringing that up, Andre.
That's excellent, excellent.
Yeah, because they need something, right? They're stuck in a hospital.
Well, somebody's gotta voice their concerns.
So this is really good, but at least Mr. Dick heard the concerns, especially not just from me, but from one of the nurses that works full-time on the second floor. And there was other stuff that was said, but anyway, I'll just say what I had to say about that. I also met July 5th, I guess, was the meeting with the MLAs and school district 2 reps and Director Liebert. And anyway, so I attended that. And July 6th, the in-camera council meeting was also discussed, and that's my report.
And then, didn't you go to the fire department?
Was that?
You went to the fire department.
Yes, I did actually. Yes, I didn't include that one. Yeah, the night before, I guess it would be July 5th also, right?
Yeah.
I attended the
I think.
Encana great donation that they gave us, or
June 26th.
was it June?
No, that was the supper. July 3rd. July 3rd, and then we did the special, this meeting with Dandy.
It was July 4th, you're right. Right? We'll get it right, kid.
I would like to invite everyone, Georgette Waldy is having her 92nd birthday on Sunday, the 29th. She's still in the hospital on second floor. But they're gonna have cake from 1 to 3. So, what? 92. And she was on council for many years, and so I want to put that out there.
Okay, so it's my turn. So June 12th, I attended a meeting with Councillor Dubois at PRRD. I did that for him. June 20th, presentation to School District 59 with Councillor Smith, Councillor Johnstone, Councillor Dubois, and the CAO Chris Leggett. June 22nd, 2018, had lunch with Leonard from PRD to discuss the village. Met with Minister of Transportation and CAO Chris. June 26th, I had supper at Coos Legion put on by Yankana. Was there with Barb Smith and Councillor Dubois. June 26th, went to the regional hospital announcement that Adrian Dix put on. And then July 1st, attended Canada Day. July 3rd, Fire Department received a donation from Encana. I was in attendance with Councillor Dubois and CAO Chris. July 5th, had a meeting with MLA Dan Davies, MLA Mike Bernay, 2 ladies from School District 59, Leonard Hebert from PRD, Councillor Dubois, and we discussed Coos-Goopy Elementary and Library. July 9th, 2018, had a special meeting with Councillor Johnstone, Councillor Dubois to discuss and make a decision on the library and Coos-Goopy School. Went on holidays, talked to Chris several times in the day to be kept in the loop. Came back July 14th. July 21st, 2018, I will be attending the 100th anniversary of Swan Lake, and I am back on holidays July 22nd, back on holidays July 22nd till August 6th to be here for the Dawson Creek Parade, Fall Fair, and August 15th for council meeting, and then again back on holidays August 18th to September 4th. If there's any issues, I'm only 11 hours away. I will be back to deal with it. It is my job. So that is my report. And I need a motion.
Make a motion to move to in-camera, or have it in-camera?
Okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?